weather this time of year in the South? Perfect. Fall football weather. And we've got the roof wide open here at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in the heart of Georgia. It's 3-0 versus 2-1. A good early season battle as we're underway in Week 4. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get this up to the 29.
Let's go.
Now Hall to start the drive. And not the start he was hoping for there as he'll maybe get back to the line of scrimmage, and that's it. Call it no gain on the game's first play. And it's second down now. Well, this defense for the Falcons, they were excellent last week in the win over the Chargers.
And I'm eager to see the game plan and trying to attack them this week because when you take it away 4 times through interceptions, what do you do now when you go into a game? Do you decide you can't throw the ball? Do you try and run it more? Or do you tell your quarterback, make sure you see your guys open before you deliver?
Ready.
Ball again on second down. The solid stiff arm. And shutting him off. Now open field. And he's taken down right at the 45-yard line. A big chunk on the ground there. 27 yards.
Good, strong, explosive run that started inside, which means you've got to control those defensive linemen, the defensive tackles, the nose guards. Those guys have to be controlled.
On the set.
How about the offensive line, the job they just did?
Yeah, key that A-gap usually on those runs, right?
That's where it all starts because everyone wants to kind of control that area. It disrupts things from the defensive side and the offensive side. As we just saw, it opens up possibilities.
Oh, this one incomplete. The pressure got to him as he released it, and it's second down. You talk about this Falcon defense. They were excellent last week in the win over the Chargers.
And I'm eager to see the game plan and trying to attack them this week because when you take it away 4 times through interceptions, do you now decide that I can't throw the ball against this team and try and run it like crazy? Or do you challenge them? This is going to be fun.
Go!
He'll try again with the arm here on second down. This one complete to Christian Kirk. And able to break one tackle, but then quickly brought down. But a nice little gain. 9 yards, not quite enough, and they'll be left now with 3rd and 1.
Let's go now.
So they just need 1 yard here to pick up the first down.
18, Pioneer. Ready.
On 3rd and short, they'll try and pick it up through the air. Pass taken in by his big tight end. And he's got this down almost to the 20 before he's dropped. The defense surrenders a 13-yard pass play there on 3rd and 1. That early game script that they drew up is working pretty well here on this first drive. Already in field goal range, Charles knocking on the door of the red zone.
You know, Brandon, when we met with the coaching staff, they kind of predicted that they would come out firing like this. I think you and I were a little skeptical that it'd be this easy, but they certainly knew what they were doing in scouting, in preparation, and understanding what their team was capable of.
Ready.
1st and goal, a chance for an early statement here on the road.
Set.
Back to throw again. Throwing quickly there, but it's incomplete.
Yeah, offenses always try to be smart about when they're trying to dial up a screen to the running back because they understand you can only go to the well so many times in a game without the defense starting to anticipate the call.
Shut up.
Option play, here's Hall. And he's going to bull his way down to about the 1 yard line. 7 big yards on the carry there to get him within range of the goal line with 3rd down upcoming.
Come on.
Ball again, but he will lose yardage here as they knock him back to the 3. And a loss of 3 to bring up 4th.
Just a simple run play there on 3rd and 1, but this D was up to the challenge and stopped them, bringing up 4th down.
And his kick here is good. But now there is a penalty marker on the field, so let's see what this is about. So they'll go ahead and accept the penalty. So now then the penalty's got him set up with a 1st and goal.
Here we go, here we go.
They'll try to run with Hall. And he will take it on in for a giant touchdown. Breece Hall, his 5th rushing touchdown now on the year. And the Giants are on the board first here this afternoon. And that caps off what was really a balanced opening drive for them, Charles. They work in the rushing game and the aerial attack, and they end it with a touchdown.
Strong in so many ways, wasn't it, partner? Their ability to throw it and run it and accomplish their goal, they've got to like the way that they started this ball game.
Set now to kick this one away, and off it goes. And no run back here. That's going to be a touchback, and we'll bring it out to the 30-yard line. So 1st and 10 now from the 30.
Down.
A run for the first time with Bijan Robinson. And tough going there as he'll only get it up to about the 31. And the tackle there by Micah McFadden. You talk about this Giant defense. It's quite a unit, that's for sure. Number 1 in the NFL against the pass.
And I'm struggling a little bit trying to really categorize this crew. They're top 10 in the league against the pass, but the bottom half of the league in sacking the quarterback. That doesn't make sense. Imagine if this group ever put pressure on the QB, they'd easily move into the top 5.
So they'll get 8 out of that completion. And 3rd and 1 now. We'll see what kind of mindset they have here offensively after giving up the touchdown on the opening drive.
And based on our time with them, prior to this game, I feel like they've got a good mindset going in. In fact, the discussion that we had with the coaching staff was, we may give up some points in this game, so our offense has to be ready each and every time, either equal or try to get us ahead and try and keep us ahead. This is their chance to respond to that first touchdown given up.
They only get 2 there, but on 3rd and 1, that's all they needed to keep the drive alive. The Falcons at 2-1 now to start the campaign, and they come in feeling pretty good after back-to-back victories, CD.
And I thought that they played pretty well last week. Their execution, their discipline, their resilience, all on display in that victory.
Ready.
Back to Robinson now on 1st down. 5 yards on the carry. Good pickup on 1st down. He was solid last week, over 100 yards in their victory on the ground. They want to get that going again.
Absolutely. And what they also understand is that from week to week, it's not necessarily the same,
but
they want it to be, right? What they saw last week on the ground, they want to see in this game as well.
Hot.
And looking to throw, Penix. It's a short one here, complete to the tight end. And they'll get this just to the 47, 1-yard gain.
I'm wondering if the same thing went through your mind as mine. When I see a big man like that make a catch,
here we go, Shaq.
All I keep thinking to myself is, big man with football. Look out, everyone. He may not juke you a whole lot, right? He may not run past you because of his size. You're talking about a guy weighing in the 270 range. But, boy, once he gets his mitts on the ball, he's going to be tough to bring down.
Able to get what they need to keep the drive going with a 6-yard pickup on 3rd down.
Set. Ready.
On 1st and 10, it's Robinson. Give him 5 on the carry there, and it'll be 2nd down.
A quick burst there, and he nicely bit off a pretty decent gain.
On the ready.
From the 43, here's 2nd and 5.
Hut.
A play fake. Now Penix. And he can't get away from the pressure the Giants get there. 9th play of the drive now on 3rd and a country mile. Now hold everything here. We're going to get a timeout by the offense. And that's their 2nd charge timeout here in this 1st quarter. They're down to 1 remaining.
Ready.
And the Giants will go with 6 defensive backs here on 3rd.
Set. Ready.
Here's Penix. Work in the middle of the field, and he's got a man complete. And they're going to have another first down as the tackle's made at the Giants' 30. That was no 3rd and 2. That was 3rd and 16, but they get the conversion anyway.
Get up.
To the air, Penix. Flush to his right. And he can't find anywhere to go with it, and he goes down. That's Dorian Williams who got there for the sack. Charles, a little bit of feast or famine on this drive. They moved the ball okay, but they've been sacked twice now.
And they've got to figure out how to plug that leak a little bit, right? Keep them away from the quarterback because when he's not being hit, as you mentioned, they're moving the ball well.
It is a Chamber of Commerce afternoon here in the Peach State of Georgia. We've got the roof open, wide open, and we are ready for football at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Seems like we were just starting training camp, but here we are in October, and off we go on EA Sports. And look at this. Right away, a loose football. And the Falcons grab it. And his guys are going to get the football at the 23-yard line. It's hard enough to play on the road in this league as it is, but to start on the road with a fumble on the opening kickoff, just not the precedent you obviously want to set.
Not at all, and now it's just words because they've talked about it all week. From the time they start game planning for this one, remember, going into hostile territory, we have to set the tone right in the beginning, and they do the exact opposite.
And he fights forward for a modest 2-yard gain, second down. Well, this defense for the Giants, they were quite formidable in the win over Philly a week ago.
And no matter what's done throughout a ball game, it always comes back to blocking and tackling. That's the essence of football.
Here we go!
But I think it's hard for people to understand just how difficult it is to tackle, especially open field. Very few missed tackles on tape that I saw last game. This team does a nice job of getting their opponents on the ground.
It's a gain of 6, moves them to a manageable 3rd-and-2 situation.
That's a really nice job by them picking up the run blitz and detecting it and blocking it and turning it into a nice run. And a lot of times you think if you blitz a running play, you're going to smother it. But a lot of the blitzers, they come in a little bit high. They don't have great leverage, and they're easily blocked and turned to the side.
From the 8, they've got it 1st and goal. They'll run with Robinson. And he's able to get it down to the 2-yard line. He'll get 6 on the ground there, and it'll be 2nd and goal coming up.
That's good hard running right there on 1st and goal. That gets him down to the 2 and puts a lot more pressure on that defense.
Go!
Robinson again.
This defense is a difficult one to prepare for, one of the best in the league. They'll come at you from all angles, and they did a nice job there stopping him for a loss.
Line of scrimmage at the 4. Here's 3rd and goal.
Ready!
They'll try and throw. Here's Penix. Touchdown, Falcons! A great play there. His first touchdown on the year. And the Falcons get the upper hand as they're on the board first here this afternoon. That was a big throw right there on 3rd and goal.
And the defense has to be prepared for you to throw the ball on 3rd and goal. Because really, 2nd down, 2nd and goal, that's your play action time, and you're not sure whether they're going to run it or throw it. 3rd down, you're usually sure they're probably going to pass it. Even more impressive that they got it done. And on the opening drive of the game.
Atlanta's 11 ready to go, and they kick it away. And we will not have a return. They'll bring this to the 30. So 1st and 10 now from
Panther
the 30.
60, Panther 60. Let's go. Ready?
They'll try and start this drive in the air. Open man is complete. And they get him down, but not before he takes it across the 40-yard line. A gain of 11 to kick off the drive, and it's a quick 1st down.
Here we go, set.
On 1st and 10, it's Hall to the 43, 2nd down.
Oh, that's a real nice job there by the defensive front. They just engaged and held their ground. But how about the guy who made the play? We often talk about whether they take a good first step or not. Many times you just don't take any step. Just get your feet moving, get your body going, and then once he made the read, he was able to make the play.
That one, a 1st down
pickup
of 8.
70 Ranger, 70 Ranger. Ready?
They're going to look to throw. This pass outside to Hall. And this time he's able to take it down to the 42. That'll go for a gain of 7, and that'll bring up 2nd down.
Just about every quarterback is trained to really look downfield first before you come back and make a nice, safe throw. And in this case, that's exactly what he did. Found his running back, let him create some space, and it turned out to be a nice play for the offense.
That's going to be caught by Kirk. That's good for a first down, his second catch of the opening drive. Really a solid start here on the opening drive, Charles. He's now 4 of 4, and they're already in plus territory.
Brandon, he's been so precise to start this game, like we're watching an operation taking place right now. Master surgeon at work.
And finally, down he goes as they work it inside the 10 to the 7. 31 yards there and a first down. That was excellent from start to finish, from the blocking to the running, just well executed.
And now let's look ahead, because after that, how about a little play action, maybe a little bootleg, and get the quarterback out on the corner and give him a little run pass out.
And he will take it on in for a giant touchdown. Christian Kirk, his third touchdown now on the year. And the Giants are within an extra point of tying up this ball game. Personally, for him, a great opening drive. He had 3 catches, including the touchdown.
That felt like tremendous scouting, great film watching, and creating a game plan to start this off, not only to get him involved, but to send a message to the defense. You can have a lot to handle in this one.
Each team's had it. Each team has scored. 7-7 here as the kick's away. And they will wrangle it down a couple yards shy of the 30. The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. And that last touchdown drive, a good mix of pass and run. Defensively, they just looked a little out of whack.
And it's so hard to stay up with an offense that has things going so well, where you're guessing and guessing wrong play after play. So what you need is someone on the defensive side of the ball
leader, right?
to make a big play.
Yeah.
Throw that balance out of whack. That's what you're looking for now. Not worrying so much about guessing what the play call is.
Well, he tries to force it in, and it's intercepted. Now he's free at the 35. And a terrific return as he brings this one all the way back to the 30.
Partner, when you're playing cover 2, this is like a tag team for the safeties. Each of them gets a half-field responsibility. Their job, stay as deep as the deepest receiver in any zone, read the football, and go make a play. In this case, the free safety made the best play, an interception.
Go! 18 Rattler, 18 Rattler. Ready?
They'll come out throwing here on first down. Oh, the ball comes out on the hit, but they'll say it's incomplete. You talk about this Falcon defense. They've certainly had their struggles against the run at the 30th ranked unit out of 32 teams in the NFL.
The numbers are definitely not in their favor, but every time I click on the film and watch them, I see stretches where they play against the run really well. Their biggest problem, when they give up those explosive runs, those 30, 40, 50-yard runs, that'll really mess up your averages.
5 yards, now it's 3rd and 5.
That second down play call was not to pick up the first down. It was to accomplish what they did, to get them into a manageable 3rd down, because they had incompletion on first down, so they were behind the sticks, so to speak. They needed to make up some ground, and they did.
And this almost intercepted. Not sure he saw the free safety that time, but lucky, incomplete. That'll bring up 4th down. So the Giants now are going to turn it over to their field goal unit. From the left hash, it's a 42-yard attempt. And his kick is good. And they take the lead here now at 10-7. So the interception set him up with terrific field position, but 3 points, the end result.
Yeah, we can make this one pretty simple, partner. You always want to end drives with points, but that's one that you're going to look back on and probably say, we should have done better there.
And no run back forthcoming, so this will come out to the 30.
Ready up!
About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense at the line.
Ready?
Been a little bit of an interesting start. The first drive for him, Charles, they had the passing touchdown. The second drive, he threw the interception. So we'll see what this third drive of the ball game brings.
Yeah, it's kind of the tiebreaker, isn't it? I mean, that's the tough part for them and for him because, things went really well in that first one, not so well on the second one. He wants to get back to what he did to get this game going.
And this throw incomplete. Well, the defender all over him that time, but it's going to lead to third down.
Not a great start dropping his first target, but let's face it, it won't be his last chance because he'll get opportunities to make up for that one throughout this game.
After the incompletion, here now, 3rd and 2.
Let's go. Ready?
Robinson will try to pick it up. And Robinson will not get there. Great defense at the point of attack, going to stop him short of the first. That'll bring up 4th. They had the 8-yard gain on first down, but unable to do much from there. The Falcons send out their punter. And deep to return it is Marcus Jones. They only punted twice in the win last week as he gets this one away. And a fair catch called for and made just inside the 35-yard line. Just a 25-yard punt, not what he was hoping for by any stretch. And it'll be Giant football 1st and 10. The Giants offense at the line, ready to begin their next drive. And they split the uprights last time for 3. They've got the lead. They're not going to play this conservative. They're not hoping for another field goal. They're hoping for a touchdown.
I'm with you on that one. I like where your head is. I like the way you're thinking because you're exactly right. Trying to sit on a lead and play that way, that doesn't work too well for most teams. Run your offense. Run what you do best. Exactly. Put it all the way down and try and increase your lead in a big way. The best way to do it, touchdowns.
And they've got it well across midfield, down to the 40 before it's all said and done. 64 yards rushing for him as he's got the afternoon off to a great start. One thing's for sure, this defense has to figure out how to stop the ground game. He's eating them up here in the first quarter.
It looks like they're going to go to different forces, aren't they? The conventional things aren't working too well. So I remember a coach of mine saying way back when a back's having a great game, you've got to get the ball out of his hands. See how far he can run without the ball. And what he meant was takeaways, knock it loose, because maybe you can't just stop him with just regular tackling.
38-yard line, 2nd and 9.
Hut, hut.
Here's Hall again. And that'll hurt the average a bit as this time they're able to get him behind the line. It'll be a loss of a full 3 yards there, and it also brings up 3rd down. (10-7) our score after 1 right here on EA Sports. Giant football, and we're ready to begin the second quarter as they've got it with a 3rd down coming up. Backed up here, tough spot, needing 11 yards to pick up the first.
Let's go now. Go.
On 3rd down, he'll drop to throw. Oh, hit as he throws there, incomplete.
I think he had to unload that one before he wanted to. He was right up in his grill. I think he was a dentist there without a license, don't you?
Just not enough time for the play to develop. Just lucky it wasn't a fumble, really. On 4th down, the punt team is on as this is sent away. 31 yards on the punt there. And the Falcons will get it 1st and 10 from deep in their own territory.
Ready.
The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. They're going to have to go at least 50, 60 yards here if they want to ensure that they don't have to punt the ball like they did last time.
Yeah, so what you're saying is we're not playing to just get out of the shadow of your own goal line, right? You're playing to make sure the punter doesn't see the field again. So it's not picking up a couple of first downs. You want to pick up 5 or 6 first downs and make sure you move the ball into their territory.
Set.
Robinson on a give right side. And he'll get this up past the 25 before he's out of bounds. Call it a gain of 4 on first, and that'll make it second down. The Falcons at 2-1 now to start the campaign, and they took the tough loss in the opener, CD, but since then they've rebounded to win 2 straight.
And that's exactly what you want to see from your team early on, how they can bounce back from adversity. The Week 1 loss, that absolutely stung. But how about how hard they've worked in the couple of weeks since? And now they're moving back in the right direction. When defenses get to the quarterback that quickly, a lot of times it's called a jailbreak. It wasn't quite that fast, but fast enough that he had no time to look downfield and set himself to throw the ball. And as he tried to do that, he was hit, and it forced an incompletion.
Come on, set. Ready.
On third down, Robinson. And they take him down, losing yardage back at the 27. A loss of a yard, and it brings up 4th.
This defense has really flown around in the first half. They've gotten to the ball carrier before they can really get started. Offense going to have to come up with something else in order to try and get this running game going.
And he can't field it cleanly. It's loose. So they'll accept that penalty, and that'll, of course, move the football up the field. Line of scrimmage, the 37 on 1st and 10.
Here we go. Check go.
Paul on a give up the middle. And he's going to take this ahead for right around 3 yards, but no more than that. Second down.
Vision is so important for the man in the middle because his ability to look through all the clutter that's happening in front of him, diagnose a play, and then go make it and finish it. That's when the great ones know that they have the goods.
And he'll get a little over 2, maybe a full 3 down to the 32-yard line. Well done to sniff that out defensively. He had it diagnosed pretty quickly.
I love that description because diagnosed is perfect on that one. Read his keys, made the play, and he couldn't even get going moving the football.
Ready.
They had great starting position to begin the drive, but now they look up at a 3rd and 5.
Hot.
He'll look to throw. And this pass broken up. The contact well timed there, and now 4th down.
Oh, that's going to hurt a bit because they needed to come through with a completion there. Now a drive that started with great field position is facing 4th down.
And his kick is right there. It's good, and the lead stretches to 6 here. It's 13-7. So they're able to end that drive with 3 points in this one-possession ball game.
And ideally, you want to end every drive with points. Most quarterbacks would tell you, let's end it with a kick, right? A PAT, that's number 1. Field goal you'll take. Punts, you really don't want to do that. In this case, they'll take the field goal and get prepared for the rest of the game.
About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense at the line.
Ready!
Charles, a very uninspired effort the last time we saw them out there was a quick 3 and out, then they punted the football.
Yeah, you never want to get stopped so soundly during a series, but what would be even worse now is letting it happen again right here. They've got to get going.
25 yards there on the catch and run.
Let's go!
So the drive takes them into Giants territory now, 1st and 10 at the 45-yard line. Straight ahead, it's Robinson. And he'll take this ahead for about 4. Second down coming up.
And that was a quality play to start a new set of downs. That was simply an offensive line winning the battle up front and winning in a big way and giving their guy in the backfield a nice lane to hit.
Here we go, shot!
2nd and 6.
Ready!
They'll throw with Penix. And he takes a shot on the release as this will be incomplete. Fair to say, hasn't been his best game throwing the football, but also not getting a lot of help out there either.
Yeah, you nailed it pretty well, you know. He's got to throw it better, got to get more help. Obviously, one that should have been caught. They've got to find a way to bring those two elements together so they can make some progress in this one.
The Falcons on third down. They've hit 2 for 4 thus far. This will be 3rd and 6. Now Penix. Pass to the sideline and pulled in. And he'll cross over out of bounds right at the 25. I know it's an emotional game, Charles. You can't do that.
And when you get into your film sessions and you argue your case with your coaches, that's exactly what they say at the end.
Let's
you
go
just
now.
can't do it. It costs your team.
Robinson up the middle. And he'll be taken down here at about the 11. Give him a couple on the carry there, 2nd and 8.
And the big fella stuffed that one up in a big way. I think doubling him has to be a priority because you can't move up to the next level if you don't take care of him first.
Get it.
On 2nd down, another shot for Robinson. And they get him behind the line, so that short gain on 1st down quickly negated. Now, they had stopped him for a loss on the run anyway, so they'll decline that.
It's almost a good psychological advantage, isn't it? You created a penalty, and you still couldn't gain yards against us. No way we need to take that one.
3rd down and 10.
Ready.
Looking to throw, Penix. And this pass broken up. Excellent coverage there on 3rd down, as that was not an easy one to hold on to. And this one is right through. And that will cut the lead back down to 3 at 13 to 10. Well, a close game like this, obviously you want the touchdown, but certainly they will take the 3.
And they'll be okay with that, but let's throw a little credit to the defense as well. And I'm just glad this doesn't come down to a debate, right? Which side won, partner? Because the defense, hey, we didn't give up a touchdown. The offense, hey, we put 3 on the board. Either way you look at it, I think both sides gained something out of that drive.
Ready, set.
The Giants offense at the line, ready to begin their next drive.
Set.
Well, they're not going to play this conservative, I don't think. They had a field goal last time, and they're up, but they're looking to put a drive in the end zone.
Oh, I agree with you totally. No one goes out on the field and says, all right, let's just settle for 3, except in certain situations, trying to ice a game, that sort of deal. Most of the time, it's end zone, and that's what you're thinking.
On the ready.
And I believe that's exactly what they're thinking as they begin this one.
Yeah, no quarterback ever goes out there saying, hey, let's get 3, right?
Not one that I've ever met.
And he'll get this to about the 34, a gain of just 3. Just not a whole lot of room to operate there on that carry.
No, not at all. They did a really nice job staying in their proper places
and
not allowing any lanes to open up.
Now a 3rd and 6.
Ready, ready.
They'll look to throw here. Pass is caught by Wan'Dale Robinson. And he will have a Giants 1st down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion. And defensively, they were in zone coverage there. Do you have to be a little careful? You're losing playing against a good quarterback like he is to not play too much zone?
Yeah, you have to be careful about how much time you're giving up. I think it's a good point you just brought up. So maybe if you still want to play zone, you go to a zone blitz scheme. And you can drop anyone out of your defensive front. Defensive end, defensive tackle. It doesn't matter. You just exchange someone to bring more pressure towards the quarterback and still try and cover downfield.
2 yards on the pickup there. It'll be 2nd and 8.
Here we go. Here we go. Go.
They run it with Hall on the option. Trying to run inside, but nothing there. 2 runs in a row, but only 2 yards to show for it.
As usual, the hallmark of a good run defense, linebackers making plays near the line of scrimmage. Absolutely nowhere to run there.
Ready, ready.
3rd and 8.
Ready.
Now back to throw. That is caught. He's going to have the 1st down and then some. And he will take it on in for a Giant touchdown. Christian Kirk with his second touchdown of the game, 4th of the year. And the Giants are able to add on to that lead. Extra point right down the middle. And his guys will take a 10-point lead. The kicking team out there for the Giants as they will send this one away. And a good return as he'll be stopped just shy of the 30-yard line. The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. Their drive last time, it stalled out. They were forced to take the short field goal.
And the key phrase, you nailed it, forced to, because you know coaches look at these short field goals as a last resort, right? To them, that's not how drives are supposed to end. You're supposed to put 6 on the board. That's a consolation prize. Like going to the county fair, you don't get the big stuffed animal on that one, do you?
No, you don't go top shelf. That's bottom shelf material. First play of the drive goes the wrong way. Here's 2nd and 12.
Ready! Get it!
From the shotgun, he'll look to throw. Looking for Godwin, and he's got him complete. And we've hit the 2-minute mark in this first half of action. So 7 yards from the first down here as they come up to the line of scrimmage.
Ready!
They'll go play action here with Penix. And the Giant rush gets home as down he goes. The Giants going to go ahead and use the first of their timeouts. So as they talk it over, we step aside. The Falcons send out their punter as he'll punt it away for the second time. Oh, it's a wobbler here. Officially, that'll be marked down as just a 28-yard punt. And it will be 1st and 10 as they take over.
Okay,
the Giants offense at the line, ready to begin their next drive. This drive beginning probably with a pair of motivated groups. Remember, the offense scored a touchdown on their last time out, looking to repeat that in Charles's defense. They were very frustrated after giving up 6 the last time on the field.
And frankly, it's just a battle of wills in a lot of ways because you know they're both motivated. They both game plan for this drive, and they both have specific outcomes in mind. To me, it just comes down to who can execute better and which side can step up and assert its will over the other.
And he's going to be out of bounds all the way down inside the 15. It's a big-time play there for the G-men. 48 yards.
Here we go, set!
They run the option here on 1st and 10. And maybe the wrong read there as he's going to go down immediately. A good response by the defense, sending them backwards after that huge gain last play. So a 5-yard run the other way in the wrong direction, and that leads us to 2nd and 15. They'll give to Hall. And he will take it on in for a Giant touchdown. Breece Hall, his 5th rushing touchdown now on the year. And the Giants will extend their lead in the final minute of the half.
You get in a 2nd and long situation down here in the red zone, I'd say most defensive coaches would think pass, let's bring some pressure. So this is kind of a tendency breaker here to hit him with something on the ground, and he'll take it all the way into the end zone.
Point after, right down the middle. And that'll make this a 3-score game now. The lead moves to 17. Out is the kickoff unit as they run up and send this one away. And no chance to see a return on the dynamic kickoff. They'll move this out to the 30-yard line. A About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense at the line.
Let's go now.
I don't think they need to be reminded of the situation here. I mean, the clock is dwindling. 3-score deficit waiting for them at halftime unless they can get something on the board here before intermission. It's a pickup of 4, and it'll bring up second down.
Typically, we think it's the strong safeties that are better tacklers, especially closer to the line of scrimmage amidst traffic. But in this case, how about the free safety coming up and making the big-time play?
Oh, that'll be incomplete. Oh, he took a shot as he let that go. And it's going to bring up a third down.
Well, he certainly thought he had a window to push that ball downfield, but as soon as he released the throw, the corner was there to slam that window shut.
They'll throw now on the final play. That one deep for London. And incomplete on the deep ball. First half in the books. You're watching the NFL on EA Sports. Welcome back. Halftime over. We are ready for quarter number 3. Alongside Charles Davis, I'm Brandon Gaudin. It'll be Falcons football, and they trail here as we get back underway on EA Sports. And no return forthcoming. It'll be a touchback, and the third quarter will start from the 30. The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. And you have to think, Charles, down 3 scores already. They need to play an almost perfect second half to have a solid chance.
And that absolutely starts with finding some way to put together a touchdown drive here. They need to be smart, fast, efficient, get the ball into the end zone, and do it again multiple times in order to have a chance to win this game.
On second down, another shot for Robinson. And they get him behind the line, so that short gain on first down quickly negated. They'll wind up losing 3, and now it's third down.
I think it's pretty evident we can say what a difference a week makes. Last week, he ran pretty much wild, didn't he? Did pretty much what he wanted to do.
Here we go, here we go.
They've stopped him cold. That, to me, that's good scouting and even better execution.
Yeah, and they stopped him behind the line right there. They obviously watched the tape a few times and made some adjustments. Oh, he rifles one, and that's going to be intercepted. It's Deonte Banks with it. And a terrific return as he takes this thing all the way down near the 20-yard line.
Well, they're certainly in a bad way right now. Not so bad that you can call this one over already, but bad enough that you know you can't toss an interception open the second half. This just ratchets up the pressure on this team's defense right now.
And he is going to lose yardage here. He'll lose a yard there, and it's 2nd and 11.
And plays like that are exactly what this defense needs here early in the second half to give it a little spark. I think their halftime adjustments, what they talked about, maybe it was just a little inspirational speech. Who knows? But looks like they're ready to go.
Ball again on second down. And this one also slow in developing as he's maybe getting back here to the line of scrimmage, but not much more than that. They've called his number a lot this afternoon. You wonder how much tread is left on those tires.
We certainly do, but I always think back to one of my favorite coaches in the NFL. And he used to have a meeting with his running backs every year in the offseason and say, look, as many times as you're going to carry the ball, you should be able to carry it one more time, so make sure you get in shape.
Ready.
A chance of wasting this great starting field position, a real threat. This is 3rd and long.
Get up.
They'll look to throw. He gets it left side to Johnson. And he will have a Giants first down as they're able to get the 3rd down conversion.
Another nice play there. They've gotten down into the red zone in no time at all. That's what this offense can do when they get on a roll. And now they're set up with a 1st and 10.
Ready.
Now a 1st and 10 at the 11.
Ready.
Straight ahead is home. And here he'll get it down to the 7. 5 yards is the tally on first down. That brings up 2nd and 5.
So where'd all that running room that he had in the first half go? Because it looks like it's drying up a little bit here. Someone made some adjustments, it appears, at least on this drive.
From the 7, it's 2nd and 5.
Check out.
They'll go again with Hall. And he's brought down right at the 5-yard line. Give him 2 on the play. We talk about defenders, specifically linebackers, keeping their eyes in the right spot. He had that eye down the entire time.
And you know that's not easily done because they throw a lot of misdirection at you. They try and fool you and get your eyes in the wrong place. But you're right about that one. He correctly figured that one out and made a really nice play.
So the Giants now are going to turn it over to their field goal unit. From the right hash, and this one just a chipping. And his kick is good. And that will extend their lead even further. Well, whatever was said in the locker room during the break must have worked. They forced the turnover. They didn't get the touchdown, Charles, but it does translate into 3 points to begin this second half.
Exactly as they discussed in the locker room at halftime. Get some points to get things kick-started. Now start your half off with some momentum. Gives you something to build on for your next possession.
About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense at the line.
Set.
I kind of feel like they've reached a do-or-die point in this game, Charles. If they're going to try to pull off an impressive comeback, it has to start right here, right now.
Yeah, now they've got a final chance to get out of this situation, but they also understand they've got to move the ball and move it fast. In addition, they need to save as much time so they can get 2 more possessions.
Go!
Right back to him on first down. Down to about the 45.
Well, on every play call, you realize it's not going to go for a touchdown, so a lot of your calls are setting things up for maybe later in the game, trying to establish the inside run with toughness now, hopefully get to the perimeter later, and let's face it, you could do worse than a 4-yard run on first down.
And his throw here is going to be incomplete.
Another attempt, another incompletion, and when I look at the scoreboard and where we are in this game, it comes to mind that they have to start getting the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Throw it to the guys that maybe can take a short pass and turn it into a long game or make people miss downfield. They've got to have points, and the guys who can put the ball in the end zone, they're the ones that need to touch the ball.
And he can't get away from the pressure. The Giants get there. Multiple defenders getting to him there for a huge loss. The Falcons send out their punter as he's on here to punt it away. 35 yards that time on the punt. And they will take over 1st and 10.
Ready up.
The Giants offense at the line, ready to begin their next drive. And after the field goal last time, let's see what they can get here. At least they got points out of the last drive, Charles.
I never met an offensive coach that didn't want to drive to end with a kick. Most of them wanted to end with a PAT, right? In this case, a field goal, they'll take it. Way better than the alternative, which is a punt.
Yeah, but you met fan bases that wanted that, that weren't happy with that field goal.
I haven't met a fan base yet that wants to drive to end with a kick, other than the extra point. That's it.
Here's a give to Hall. And he'll manage to pick up about 4. It's 2nd down.
Well, the end of all that hitting and hollering, it was a 4-yard run, so the offense is going to go back to huddle and feel pretty good about themselves. Defensively, you have to feel okay because you didn't let it turn into a bigger run, but the goal, shut it down for 2 yards or less. That's when you start to feel good about yourselves.
And he'll work it across midfield inside the 45. 114 yards for him on the ground now as he has been terrific here this afternoon.
Yeah, another good run there. He's been such a big part of their success here this afternoon. And that last carry, it puts him over 100 yards now for the day.
Come on,
so 1st and 10, and if they score on this drive, might have to start digging in our second half blowout material. Hall again. He's got it to the 43 here.
Well, praise has to go to the guys on the offensive line because they've had a very nice, productive day running the football. How about that poor defensive line? They've been knocked around the entire game, and while they slowed them down on that run, can they continue to do so? Because they haven't had much success throughout this ball game.
Here we go!
Second down and 8.
Hot, hot.
Straight ahead, here's Tracy. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. They give those 2 yards right back, and now they're looking at a 3rd and 10.
Go!
Back to throw. That's caught left side by Neighbors. And that's going to be good for another first down as the tackle's made at the Falcons' 27-yard line. 18 yards, a big pickup there on 3rd down.
And while we may be looking at the scoreboard, this offense certainly is not because they're showing no signs of backing down, even with a 3-score lead here in the 3rd quarter. I think they keep taking their shots. They've seen blown leads happen throughout this league. They don't want to fall victim to it themselves.
He'll take it inside the 25.
In my book, that's running the ball well, but with intelligence. How about him keeping the clock moving, staying in bounds?
Yeah, even though it's the 3rd quarter, you're thinking ahead, aren't you? This is where your running game can really help you with a lead in the second half.
I agree totally. It's not just end-of-the-half situations that you worry about the clock. It's throughout the game. And with a lead, stay in bounds. Make them fight harder to try and catch you.
And that one knocked away and incomplete. Nice job defensively on what will be the final play of the 3rd quarter. Back now here on EA Sports. It's the Giants with the football and also the lead as we get set to start quarter number 4. And this offense on 3rd down today, they're at 50%, 4 for 8.
Let's go.
This is 3rd and 8.
Get up.
A handoff for Hall. And he's down inside the 5 at the 4 before he's out of bounds. They're able to convert on 3rd down, and that sets up a 1st and goal.
As I take a look at the clock, I
Here we
realize
go.
that this drive has eaten up a good portion of the 4th quarter already. Got to tell you, partner, when you're trying to salt away a game, this is exactly what it's supposed to look like.
And the hole closes quickly here. He can fight only to about the 4. Only a yard on the pickup there. 2nd and goal.
All of a sudden, those lanes that were there earlier in the drive dry up near the goal line. That's a good job defensively to diagnose the run and stop it for a very short pickup.
Check go.
They'll run here with Hall. And he'll be stopped about a yard shy of the goal line after a pickup of about 3.
Well, Brandon, we always know that once you score 1 touchdown,
you want 2.
You're without a doubt. And so far today, he's got 1, but was denied
Let's go
as
now.
he tried to get the 2nd one.
Ready.
They'll look to run with Hall. And he is in. Touchdown, New York. Breece Hall with his 2nd touchdown of the afternoon. And the Giants are going to be moving to 4-0 as they extend their lead. The extra point up and good. And that stretches the lead all the way up to 27. The kickoff unit is out on the field, and they will send this one away. And not willing to risk a return, this ball's going to come out to the 30-yard line. The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. Their mini 2-game win streak appears it might be going by the wayside unless they can pull a rabbit out of their hat. Yeah, boy, this defense again really making things tough on him as they stop him for no gain. This run defense has been pretty stout all game long. Now you're here in the 4th quarter. Just rely more on the passing attack.
I don't think you have any choice, and I don't think you have to dress it up at all either. Throughout the first 3 quarters, you're still trying to convince the defense that you may run the football. That's out the window right now. Protect, let your quarterback operate, and try and find some targets in the open field downfield.
Ready.
2 runs for a net gain of nothing. Now here's 3rd and 10.
Go.
Play fake, and they'll throw with Penix. Blitz coming, and down he goes. Marcus Jones coming in to drop him for a loss of 8, and it also brings up 4th.
On the set. Set up. Ready.
On the bootleg, it's Penix. And he's going to be intercepted for the 3rd time thus far. Marcus Jones picks it. And he's able to get it back to the 33-yard line. Well, I get it, Charles. Desperate times call for desperate measures. Down big. They just sent their receivers out, let it fly. But the defense, they were ready.
Yeah, and there aren't too many people left in this stadium that couldn't see that coming. But that's not a major criticism at all because you had to try it. What you're hoping for is one of your athletes out-athletes everyone else. It makes a dramatic play.
Come on, come on.
Give to Hall running right. And brought down, but not before they're inside the 25. 151 yards rushing for him now as he has been tremendous all day long.
Here we go, here we go.
On first down, right back to Hall. He'll get a nice chunk there on the first down run, and it's 2nd and 4.
Brandon, I've got to think this offensive line has got some smiles on its faces. And I know it sounds crazy, but they practiced for this back in training camp. They knew they'd be in situations where it'd be extra defenders in the box coming after them, trying to keep them from locking down a game. Right now, they want to show the world they're up to the challenge.
Out of the gun, they run it with Hall. And he'll go down here at the 12-yard line. 4 yards the pickup, first down. Hate to be blunt, but it is just continuing to prove to be the case that this O-line is manhandling this D-line right now.
They deserve to roll up their sleeves and show up their biceps because they're doing exactly what you just described, manhandling the defensive front. They've got the leverage, they're powering through, and they're controlling this game.
Down to the 6-yard line on a pickup of 6 as he gets halfway to the goal line.
I think we all suspected that they were going back to him after he found the end zone on his last carry, and they kept the positive momentum going there. Another nice run by him.
Check out.
Option play, here's Hall. And he'll be brought down right on the edge of the goal line at about the 1-yard line. A 5-yard gain, and now they're set up 1st and goal.
Brendan, every great running backs coach I've talked with has always talked about when you have great vision, you're not consciously thinking about your cuts and your moves. You're just doing them. And I think that's what we're seeing tonight. He's about to run them into submission, hasn't he?
You took the words right out of my mouth. I was just going to... And he will take it on in for a giant touchdown. Breece Hall punching it in from a yard away. And the Giants have sewn this one up as they add to their lead here in the 4th. Well, nothing fancy there, Charles. You had 3 tight ends on the field. They were going to run the football. The defense knew it, but the defense couldn't stop them.
And I haven't met an offensive line yet that doesn't get more satisfaction out of running the football into the end zone than pass protecting. They had determination on their side, and they got it done.
The kickoff team on the field now as they will send this one away. And it's a pretty good return here as he'll get this up to the 29. About set to begin their next drive, the Falcons offense at the line.
Ready?
We said it at halftime that they would need a nearly perfect second half to erase that deficit that they were facing, CD, but unfortunately, the second half has pretty much been a carbon copy of the first.
Yeah, that early lead was almost insurmountable the way their opponent was playing, and partner, they do have some good news, though. This one is getting close to being over, and they can try and hit the reset button starting tomorrow.
Ready, set.
So after the incompletion on first, now 2nd and 10.
Let's go.
And looking to throw, Penix. Eluding the pressure right. And an off-balance throw there, and it's going to wind up incomplete.
They lead big, and a major part of that has been how they've taken their play to a whole new level this second half. No points allowed since the break, And you can add another incompletion to the total number that they forced in this runaway contest.
So back-to-back incompletions, and that has them staring at a 3rd and 10.
Here we go,
Here's Penix. And he'll be hit as he releases it, and that'll fall incomplete.
And that's another play that's painted the picture of this game overall. It's been a blowout. It's been continually fueled by big turnovers and stops for one side and an inability to advance the ball from the other.
And here's a very low-line drive, almost whiffed on it. Just 21 yards on the punt there. And the Giants will begin this drive in good shape, 1st and 10.
Set. Go.
On 1st and 10, it's Hall. He'll take this to the 46. And hang on here. We've got an injured player, and that's the running back, Breece Hall. The medical staff will attend to him, and we will step aside. From the 46, here's 2nd down and 7.
Let's go now. Ready.
They'll hand it to Tracy. And he is met in his tracks behind the line of scrimmage. Now they're staring at a 3rd and 8. That last play backwards a yard.
That's a really alert defense there because they saw the heavy look come in from the offense, countered it with extra linebackers who brought a little bit of speed and heft, and able to really make a big-time play for their defense.
This offense so far on 3rd down, they're hitting at 60%, 6 out of 10 thus far. This is 3rd and 8. No gain there on the play, and that's going to leave them with a 4th down. And the Giants send out their punter now as he'll kick it away for the 2nd time. So possession goes over here on the punt, and the offense will come back out deep in their own territory.
Ready.
The Atlanta offense out there for their next drive. Even though they were able to force the punt defensively, still a big hole to climb out of, especially at this late stage of the contest. Oh, he was hit as he threw it there, and that one winds up incomplete.
Tell you what, partner, after he ices down, he's going to need a nice long soak in a hot tub after this one. He's been under duress the entire game.
Yeah, once again, hit as he throws. Fortunate that one wound up incomplete.
Set.
He'll try again with the arm here on 2nd down. Left side here, that's complete to Godwin. And he will be taken down, but a big play there as it comes just as we reach the 2-minute warning.
Set it.
Operating from the gun, Penix. And this is going to fall to the ground, incomplete. That very nearly their 4th pick of the game. Instead, 2nd down.
This has obviously been a bad loss, but one of the few things they can still do is try and throw the ball all the way to the end zone and get some points on the board so they're not shut out over the final 2 quarters of this game.
That's complete to his receiver, Godwin. And he'll be down at the 46. So they go from 146 to the other on a pickup of 8. 3rd and 2.
Here we go. Ready.
To the air, Penix. He's got the 1st down and more. And down right around the 37. 9 yards that time.
I got a kick out of that one, partner. You and I talk often about trying to hide receivers in certain situations, but a guy of his size can't really hide him. But the tight end drag route, definitely an effective way to sneak him across the formation for an easy completion and a 1st down.
That's out wide here for Robinson. Just a gain of a couple there. And that will bring up 2nd down.
All defenses worry that whenever anyone catches the ball and has a head of steam come out of the backfield, it can turn into a big play with missed tackles or he runs through people. But they were right there waiting, and they stopped him for a minimal gain.
And this one almost intercepted. Far too loose with the football. Nearly a fourth pick of the ball game.
That's coverage you'd expect to see in a tie game late. Not in a lopsided game like this. They are not letting up.
Ready! Ready, ready!
They'll look to throw again. He's got his target. That's complete. And they're going to have another first down as the tackle's made at the Giants 16. Nice third down conversion and even 20 yards. So signs of life in what's been a dormant offense in this second half. Here's 1st and 10. And now they're inside the 10 as he's brought down at the 9. Now the Falcons going to use one of their timeouts as they'll stop it with 13 seconds left to play.
Here we go, set!
2nd and 4. In trouble, and he'll go down back at the 12. And we've got a timeout. 9 seconds remaining.
But one thing I do know, these guys on defense, they don't want this game to end. They're winning by multiple touchdowns. They've shut down the opposing quarterback in a big way, and they're still picking up sacks as we approach the end of this one.
Here comes 3rd down at 7.
Set! Go!
He'll look to throw. And that is caught. Well, they're going to see this one to the end. They get a score, but pretty much an exercise in futility right now. Still down big.
Well, that's what I call an answer right there. They gave up a sack on the previous play. How about what they did to finish things off, turning it right back around?
That's the response, and that O-line feels a lot better now, don't they?
Yeah, without a doubt, because give up the sack in the previous play, that just hurts those guys because they never want to see their guy get hit.
Let's go now.
One final shot. They'll look to throw. And they're going to get the 2-point conversion, caught in the end zone, and that cuts the lead a bit further. Atlanta's 11 ready to go, and they kick it away. And he's up across the 25 and down at the 28.
Ready! Ready!
The D can only stop it one more time as they take the knee. Charles, a lot of happy faces heading into the tunnel as this one ends, and understandably so. Not only did they get the win, but boy, their offense was on fire in this ball game.
And partner, I have no idea what the top speed is on one of those high-end sports cars. What's the top gear you can get into? This offense, they certainly were there in this one, huh? Everything clicking for them in this contest, the kind of performance that they're going to cherish.
So for the Giants, that early momentum continues here as they move to 4-0. And they will head back home next.